Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of her. I think she kind of lost her footing and was listening too much to consultants, frankly, and it didn't really exude who she was. People who don't understand what she had to do to get to this moment. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just very proud of her.
There you have it. This is going to be a hilarious video. MSNBC election night meltdown. I absolutely love these kind of compilation videos. And, you know, you've seen MSNBC crying in the opening clip. This party is soft, and it's hilarious to see, looking back on it, how wrong they really were. And overall, right, nothing wrong with having people be excited about a candidate, because overall the country is split pretty much 50-50, even though we did win the electoral college, we won the House, the Senate, the popular vote. So overall they still got a lot of votes. But MSNBC, this is a hilarious video, and I look forward to watching it. With that being said, let's get it.
How's everybody doing? First time voting?
Yes.
How you feeling?
Good.
Are you guys doing okay too?
Yes, we're doing great. Kamalala.
I was going to ask who you're going to vote for, but I didn't need to.
Kamalala. Because voice matters.
First time voting?
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm excited.
Congratulations, you guys. You're almost there. Come on, Rachel. I'll show you all the way to the back of the line here. I was saying 500,000 people are going to show up, they expect, on Election Day here. As you know, this is where the Harris campaign wants to drive up the numbers to sort of counteract that T in the middle of Pennsylvania, to counteract the rural votes that the Trump campaign is expected to get.
ASU, the campus that we're on right now, ASU students, the population is about 74,000. So a lot of people voting here. When it comes to a lot of the young women that we've been talking to, reproductive rights is huge. It's a big, big driver. It's a lot of the conversation that we're hearing when it comes to
counties that are going to be deep, deep red. And one of the questions coming into tonight was, would there be any slippage for Donald Trump in those counties, those core Republican Trump counties? Remember, he's trying to make up a deficit. He lost by about 12,000 votes last time. So we've got about 10 now completed of those rural, heavily Trump counties. We're talking about places where he's going to get 70, 75, 80% of the vote. In all 10 that have now been completed, Trump's vote share relative to 2020 has gone up between 1 and 3 points.
I'm just going to give a couple of, everybody take a breath warnings here. Okay. One is DeKalb County is not in Georgia because of the extension of the poll hours. That is such a big county for the Democrats. We don't know what's going to happen in Georgia. I would also just reiterate, maybe you've also said this, it's like a baby blue state, I'm going to say, and that it has not been blue for a...
We don't have red states or blue states. We have blue cities and red counties. Every single state that has big metropolitan cities, they always tend to go blue. But if you look on surrounding counties, it is always red. And it's hilarious to see because people think oh, this is so much people and whatnot. But overall, a lot of states are purple, but big metropolitan cities kind of make it blue. So just want to throw that in there.
A long time. It is a hard state for the Harris team. Georgia is.
One thing I think, again, we're early in the evening here. One of the things that was so striking about the public polling and the public data going into this election was that the public polling said this is the closest race that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Basically. That was the consensus view. And there was a real question about, well, maybe the public polling is wrong, and maybe it's going to miss a few points in one direction or another. We don't know at this point. It's very early in the evening. But I would say at 8:50, it's a very, very close race.
I personally saw a ton of polls that had Trump absolutely blowing Kamala out. So I think there's a little bit of a bias both ways, but overall, this was not close. I never thought it was close. And a lot of people have Trump absolutely miscounted when it comes to how much pull and how much prevalence he has within the Democratic process. And people were fed up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does.
Say that if you are just joining us right this second at 8:52:06, and I had to summarize what's going on, no surprises. Looking back at the battleground states that we're still awaiting definitive calls in Georgia, it's too close to call. In Pennsylvania, it's too close to call. In Wisconsin, it's too close to call. In Michigan, sing it with me now, it's too close to call.
Let's be blunt. I think when you watch what Donald Trump did in 2020, what Democrats were fantasizing about was a landslide victory.
It is fairly shocking. And I don't think it's something that should make us super proud. You just think about just the last 2 weeks and the things that Donald Trump has said. If all of that gets you half of the votes,
49%.
what does it tell you? I mean, we need to really take a step back and think about what does that say about us?
I think that's right. I mean, blue wall, baby, there was always going to be a blue wall night. And I think that, I mean, I tried to speak a little bit to some of the fantasies, right, of a landslide victory that would erase any doubt, that would eradicate, you know, the threat of something drawn out. I think that waiting for these blue wall states to come in because they're so close. And so I think it's going to be a late night. And I think it's the polls. I mean, I guess a slice of good news that the polls have accurately captured this dead heat.
Ari, since you were last with us, I've got nothing to report.
Well, the crowd here is still large, is still loud, but a little bit more subdued. And the word that I keep hearing, it must be some new phrase that's entered the lexicon, is the idea that people here are nauseously optimistic, not just cautiously optimistic, but nauseously optimistic. That the real focus now is on that blue wall in the Midwest. They knew that this was going to be a long night and that it was going to be a real nail biter, and it appears that that is exactly what we're looking at right now.
We've been saying for weeks, says Ms. O'Malley Dillon, quote, that this race might not be called tonight. Those of you who were around in 2020 know this well. It takes time for all the votes to be counted. All the votes will be counted. That is how our system works. What we do know is this race is not going to come into focus until the early morning hours.
Because part of the objective of this email is to say to the people on the team, hang in there, guys. Like, it's not over. We're still getting votes in. We still need to keep talking to people, keep people in lines, tell your grandma it's going to be okay. That's part of the objective of an email like that.
Where Hazleton is, that's a majority, almost 70% Hispanic city. We now have all the vote in Luzerne County. Donald Trump is going to win this by a little bit more than 21 points. Compare this to 4 years ago, it was 14.
This is what I mean by when people say that Trump had a mandate. Every single county, whether it was blue or red before the 2024 election, was a 1 to 10 point shift. I mean, absolutely everywhere was, in the most major election spots that is heavily Democratic, we've seen somewhere upwards of 10-15% switches, which was absolutely unheard of. And the fact that Trump is getting 4 points in this random county in Pennsylvania, right? That was across the entire country. And I was just so shocked to see how well he really, really did. I mean, I felt good about it before the election, but geez, was that just a absolute shock. And I'm so pumped to see it turn out like that, because I don't have no idea where we would be with Kamala, right?
Theme, but it's important. Trump's gains with Hispanic voters. You're absolutely seeing it here in Luzerne County. He's going to win this by more than 20 votes. That's a significant jump for him. His campaign said he was going to do that. They did do that here. We also saw him make those gains in Lackawanna County right next door earlier tonight.
NBC News now projects that in the battleground state of Georgia in the presidential race, Donald Trump has prevailed. That puts the electoral map at Donald Trump with 246 electoral votes, and Kamala Harris at 189 electoral votes. And this is a big one. The Republican Party will control the United States Senate. Live from Howard University in Washington, D.C.
Good evening, Howard. Good evening, HU. We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted. So thank you. We believe in you. May God bless you. May God keep you. Thank you all.
A short and to the point statement from Cedric Richmond, the Harris campaign co-chair, speaking to what is still a considerable crowd at Howard University in Washington, D.C. You now see them turn as one to start to leave the grounds.
The evening was getting increasingly somber as people realized what this map is looking like. At what point they turned off the TV set and just piped up the music because the room was starting to get increasingly somber.
You know, we always knew it was going to be down to the blue wall, and the blue wall is still uncalled at this point. But it sounds like the Harris campaign is sort of keeping things tight in terms of whether or not they're going to string people along into thinking this is going to happen.
What they went to that venue tonight hoping to see and witness was a historic election of Kamala Harris to the presidency. Was the end of the Trump era as they knew it. And so we don't know the outcome yet, but that is not what they are receiving, and they are being told to go home and wait till tomorrow.
And nothing that was true yesterday about how flawlessly this campaign was run is not true now. I mean, this really.
I love that talking point. It is so funny. I mean, this lady blew over $1 billion on this campaign. So I don't know what they consider flawless, right? Because it absolutely wasn't. And I just look forward to, seeing them cry a little bit more.
Was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. She had every prominent celebrity voice. You could not have run a better campaign in that short period of time. And I think that's still true of Africa.
And I've gotten people from Western Europe who are extraordinarily alarmed and terrified.
NBC News now projects that presidential contest has been won by Donald Trump. Let's watch as Trump takes the stage in Palm Beach, Florida, with former First Lady Melania Trump, his wife, at his side, and his son, Barron, his youngest child, addressing his supporters.
Thank you very much. Wow.
There you go. This video was really hilarious to me. And looking back on exactly what happened during the election, this is so funny. And I think that a lot of the takes they had were pretty bad, but overall something, they were trying to be moderate if they could, but they were just kind of gaslighting. But hopium and copium is a real thing. And, to a certain extent, I think we had it as well. And, nothing wrong with that. I think, if you ride with that party, ride with that party. But, I don't believe in it. So I'm happy that they absolutely got smashed and crushed. And I'm looking forward to another, 8 more years potentially after this Trump presidency. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share. Smooth, unfiltered.